If I say, I would come to your house tomorrow morning, it simply means I'm not coming. Hi there, welcome back to TELW, the English workshop. For those who came in late, my name is Manu and I make videos on English skills to help you speak better and even write better, and therefore improve your communication skills as well. Okay, in this video, we're going to look at two things: the use and the grammar, the other way around. We'll start with grammar first. See, would is a modal verb. What it means is it gives you some extra information. When you give the sentence, I will come versus I would come, what does I would tell you? It tells 5 different things. We'll look at that in the uses. The other thing is, with would, you always use the bare verb. In other words, I can't say I would to play. I would to submit the report tomorrow. It'll always be I would submit it. Would submit, the bare verb. No to, no ing. That was all about grammar. Now let's come to the uses. There are 5 uses of would. One is the politeness quotient. I like to use that word, politeness quotient. It improves the politeness quotient. Second is to talk about reported verbs. Third is talking about imaginary situations. Fourth is while advising someone. And fifth is when you talk about repeated actions in the past. Let's look at each one of these. So first, politeness. Let's look at it from the lowest, easiest bit. How do you ask something politely? You can say, can I come in? May I come in? Great. If you want to make it a little more polite, how would you say? You might say, would you mind if I came in? That's more polite. Would you mind if I sat in this chair? Would you mind if I used your car? Would. That's a polite request. We've just seen the question form of request. Now, how do I make a polite statement? That's the second bit. You can say things like, I would like to pay by card, please. Note the word please at the sentence. I didn't use please with a question. Would you mind if I came in, please? No, that makes no sense. It means I want you to mind my coming in. No. But with sentence, yes, I do use please. I'd like to sit here, please. I'd like an appointment for 11 o'clock tomorrow, please. Please. Now, note another one that I said. I'd like, I would, contracted to I'd. I'd like to make an appointment for 11 o'clock tomorrow, please. That was the statement, a polite way of making statements, a polite way of speaking, as it were. Third one is how to make an offer. Would you like some more tea? No, please again. But would. It's like saying, do you want some more tea? But that's very rude. Do you want? Am I a beggar? No. Would you like? Yes, that's giving respect to that person. Would you like to sit here, please? Would you like to come this way, please? Would you? That was the polite offer. This was the politeness bit that I said. You use would for polite expressions, as a polite expression. We got those 5 golden words of polite expression. We have a video on that as well. We use one of those golden words here, please. If you want to know more about those, look at that video, the description. We've given the link over there. Or maybe it's in the I button on top. All right, so that was all about politeness. We spoke about 3 things under politeness: polite requests, polite offers, and polite statements. Now let's go to the second major use, reported speech. What do you mean by reported speech? Somebody tells something and you tell a third person what the first person said. For instance, somebody said, I will give you the report tomorrow. Now you're the boss and your subordinate said, I will give you the report tomorrow. Then you tell your boss, he said he would give the report the next day. He would. See, that is would, because you're reporting what he said. He told you some time ago, maybe 5 seconds ago, makes no difference, but it's still in the past. So you go one step back into the past and say, he said in the past, so he would give you the report tomorrow. Would. It's always in the reporter's speech. Let's look at some examples. All right, if I say, I will go to the movie tomorrow. He said he would go to the movie tomorrow. Will they come next week? He asked whether they would come the next week. I will have my breakfast at 9 o'clock. She said she would have her breakfast at 9 o'clock. So in reporter speech, you always go one step back. Don't say, she said she will have her breakfast. Not well. She said she would have her breakfast tomorrow, if you are talking the previous day, or if it is on any other day. Then you say, she said she would have a breakfast the next day, the following day, etc. That was the use of would in reporter speech. Now let's come to the imaginary situation. What do you mean by imaginary? Which is not real. For instance, now, I don't own a plane. Okay? So I said, so the imaginary situation is I own a plane. The real situation is I don't own a plane. So, how do I say that? If I owned a plane, I would employ a pilot. See, I would. But I don't own a plane, so obviously I'm not going to employ any pilot. If somebody says, I would give this book to you tomorrow, rest assured, he is not giving you the book tomorrow. What he said was, I would give you the book, but I can't because of some reason. So if that condition were fulfilled, then I would give it to you, but I know it won't be fulfilled, so I'm not giving it to you. Go to hell. Would. It's always the imaginary situation. Let's look at another imaginary situation. Real imaginary, right? If the sky fell on our heads tomorrow, we would all go to hell. But we know the sky is not going to fall on our heads tomorrow, or any other day for that matter. It's imaginary. So if the sky fell, we go one step back, we would go to hell. Would one step back. We would go to hell. Simple. That was one bit of the imaginary situation. Now let's look at a second kind of imaginary situation. When we talk about the past. Now, last December, I didn't go to the beach. But if I had gone to the beach, I would have met the president, because he was also at the beach then. But I didn't go to the beach, so I didn't meet him. How do I say that? If I had gone to the beach, I would have met the president. I would have. If I had studied properly, I would have got high marks. Let's look at the negative bit. If I hadn't lost the ticket, I would have been on that plane. If I hadn't lost the ticket, I wouldn't have been in this trouble. Which means I lost the ticket, I am in trouble. Imaginary situation, if I hadn't lost the ticket, I wouldn't have been in trouble. So, two kinds of imaginary situations. That was all about imaginary situations. Now let's talk about advising someone. How do you advise? We all know it. Anybody who's learned English will say the best way to advise is should and ought to. You should go to the doctor if you have a headache. You ought to take medicines. You ought to pray before you go to bed. Ought to. But there's another way of advising. I'll say, so how do you plan to go to Goa? Oh, I'm going to fly on Friday. Right. I would leave home 2 hours early. What does that mean? That means I'm advising you to leave 2 hours before the flight time. So the full form of that is, if I were you, I would leave 2 hours early. I'm not you, so I'm not going to leave 2 hours early. The fifth and the last use of would that we're going to discuss here is repeated action in the past. What do you mean by that? In the past, a past period of time which doesn't exist now. Like, say, when I was in school. There was a period of time in the past. I'm no longer in school. Then I can say about the repeated actions. I'll give an example. We would play cricket after school every day. Repeated action. She would always score the highest marks in mathematics in class. He would always flunk in physics. Every time. It's repeated action. We would all get beaten up for shouting in the class. It's a repeated action every time. We were shameless. I would go to school by bus. We had a school bus. So I went to school by bus. In the higher classes, I would cycle down to school. Would. She would always play the guitar at every function. Would. It's a repeated action that happened in the past. You don't do that now. She doesn't play the guitar anymore. I can say she would play the guitar then in the past. So that's all about the use of would. 5 uses of would is what we saw just now. And we also saw the grammar bit. Now, one last thing I want to say about this is contraction. I would contracted to I'd. You would, you'd. We would, we'd. They would, they'd. She'd, it'd, it would, it'd. Look at that, it'd. I can say it would. Or when you are pretty careless when you speak, you say it'd go, it'd go. So you sound like it'd go. That t is also kind of it'd go. Sometimes it becomes an R. For instance, it'd go. Remember, you never contract when you write. That's all. So if you like this video, hit the like button. That's going to help us. And those of you who are new here, do press the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to get all the videos coming to you immediately, the moment we release them. And give your comments. I eagerly await your comments as well. If you want, tell us what kind of videos you would like to have. We'll work on them as well. So I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye-bye.